Hey y'all, it's John Trent from Bounding Into Comics, and I've got some Terminator Dark Fate fallout for you today. Linda Hamilton tolls the death bell for the Terminator franchise. But before we get into it, I'd like to ask if you could please hit that subscribe button. It helps us ensure more people can see our videos. YouTube and Google are doing crazy stuff. They're unsubscribing people. So if you have been unsubscribed, please make sure you hit subscribe. We appreciate that much. And if you could, at the end, if you could share this video, that'd be great. Help us help more people see this video. So with that out of the way, Terminator star Linda Hamilton made it pretty clear the franchise as it currently stands is pretty much over. So Hamilton spoke with The Hollywood Reporter in an interview trying to promote Terminator Dark Fate's DVD sales and its release into video, but I don't think it really promoted the movie at all, because when she was asked if she was optimistic about playing Sarah Connor again, Hamilton bluntly said no. She would then add, "Something says to me, I don't know." And then she would elaborate a little bit that she would rather see a much smaller Terminator production before indicating that movie-going audiences are unpredictable. So this is what Hamilton said, quote, "I would really appreciate maybe a smaller version where so many millions are not at stake. Today's audience is just so unpredictable. I can't tell you how many laymen just go, well, people don't go to the movies anymore. That's not Hollywood analysis. That just comes out of almost everybody's mouth. It should definitely not be such a high-risk financial venture," end quote. Sorry, Linda Hamilton. Movie-going audiences are not unpredictable. I think that's a bunch of hooey. Even she, it's weird. She kind of says that. She says today's audience is just so unpredictable. Then she goes and says, well, people that laymen are saying, well, people don't go to the movies anymore. And then she's saying that's not Hollywood analysis. So obviously she's a little contradicting herself there a little bit. And I completely disagree with her first opinion where she's saying that audiences are unpredictable. I disagree with that 100%. I think movie-going audiences are pretty predictable. I mean, there's a reason why Amazon is giving you an ad for whatever you need, like when you need it. They have this stuff is usually down to an algorithm. They're just choosing deliberately to ignore these algorithms, especially when it comes to movies. When they are literally creating movies like Terminator Dark Fate that are marketed as not movies, but literally lecture sessions where the film is going to lecture you on how bad of a person you are. And we saw that with Terminator Dark Fate. Director Tim Miller was screaming to high heavens, and when you got kind of first initial reactions to the film, he was saying the film is going to scare the F out of closeted misogynists, which is Hollywood code for all the people who don't like the terrible ideas they're pitching in their movie and they're trying to preach to you. But getting back to Hamilton, she made it clear she has no intention of returning to the franchise, saying, quote, "But I would be quite happy to never return." She continued, "So no, I'm not hopeful because I would really love to be done." And then she kind of, obviously, she's an actor. She wants a paycheck. She says, "But if there were something new that really spoke to me, I am a logical person and I will always consider viable changes." I don't know if I really want Linda Hamilton coming back, especially when the viable changes, what she thinks is a viable change is the killing of John Connor. So she talks about that in this Hollywood Reporter interview and actually defends the controversial killing of John Connor at the beginning of Terminator Dark Fate. Hamilton says, quote, "I don't think Sarah and John would be there at all if they were still fine and strong. I thought it was a great leaping off point for my character to create a new fuel and fire for Sarah Connor. I thought it was a very good story point. I'm not one that clings to past ideas." This movie was marketed as a sequel to Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Does Hamilton forget that film? Her character was locked up in an insane asylum because she kept talking about the Terminators. I'm pretty sure even after the events of Terminator 2, she would still have a seething hatred for Terminators. She wouldn't need the Terminators killing John Connor and completely undercutting the entire Terminator franchise to get mad at them. It wasn't a good story point. It was a catastrophic one that completely undoes the Terminator storyline. When you are making a film based on around a 40-year-plus-year franchise, it's probably good to actually cling to those past ideas, ensure that what you are doing now makes sense in the context of those past stories. Clinging to past ideas is what makes franchises successful. They build on those past ideas. Throwing them in the trash, like modern Hollywood seems inclined to do, all for the sake of modern sensibilities, is just another reason why these reboot films continue to bomb at the box office, and why Star Wars, the biggest franchise ever, is being labeled a box office disappointment, because they're not being true to the franchise. They're disregarding it and throwing it in the trash, all for the sake of modern sensibilities. It's absolutely disgusting. So Hamilton continued, indicating she sees the Terminator franchise dying as it's come to that point in its natural cycle of life. So Hamilton said, quote, "Judgment Day is about John, but John wouldn't exist without Sarah. Then something else will happen and Sarah will have to die. That is kind of the nature of life, and I would like that to be the nature of franchises, where it's not just the same story retold each time. I just think it's much more interesting to launch from a new place." I completely disagree with this. I do agree that the Terminator franchise is probably dead because they made some massive mistakes with Dark Fate and then Genesis before it, and you can even argue Terminator 3. But the idea that franchises are going to eventually die is just I don't believe that. I think that you can keep making good stories in those franchises and stay true to the past stories. Biggest example here, Gundam. It's almost just as old as Terminator. It's still going strong and still making interesting stories in the Universal Century timeline. Unicorn was great. If you haven't seen it, I believe it's on Netflix. I think it's also on Hulu. Great little miniseries there. Great story. Better than Terminator Dark Fate, that's for sure. And then you also have Gundam is doing other things in different timelines, which Terminator could do as well. There's nothing stopping Terminator from doing that except the people working on the Terminator franchise. So that's kind of my take. Terminator looks like it's dead, and it's all because of the people involved in Terminator, the choices that they made, that they decided to go after people who were Terminator fans, insult them, market the film as like that it was going to preach to you. It deserves what it gets. They dug their own grave. So I don't really have any sympathy for them. And I mean, it's dead and gone. I mean, it got terminated. It won't be back. But that's my take. What do you make of Hamilton's comments regarding the Terminator franchise? Do you expect it to continue, or do you think it's done and dead? Please leave a comment. Let me know. I'm interested to see what you say. I do look at the comments. I might not respond to all of them, but I do read them for the most part. Yeah, if you also enjoyed this video, please share it. I recommend you share it. I think this will be a very shareable video, and so if you could do that, that'd be great. My name is John Trent, and you've been watching Bounding into Comics. Until next time.